Viewers, welcome to the Personal Injury Law Show. This show that talks about everything current in the law of personal injuries and obviously of importance to you, the viewer. My name's Tony Carbone. I'm a personal injury lawyer with 30 years experience. With me tonight I've got a partner in the law firm in insurance law, Nuncio Tateya. Good evening, Nuns.
Evening, Tony. Evening, viewers. Welcome.
And the lovely and effervescent Vivian Ryan, former lawyer and current director of Gravia Media. Good evening, Viv.
Hello, Tony. Hello, Nunzio. Good evening, viewers.
Viewers, tonight we've got a very special episode called Blue September. It looks into men's health issues, in particular cancer and prostate cancer. So stay tuned for that. But more importantly, it's a post-grand final edition, Nuncio, and the mighty Hawks have now been finally immortalised. You're like the Spartans in Greece. 3 fantastic premierships in a row, 18-team competition. Viv, what do you say about this?
Oh, look, I'm very happy for you, Tony. I know it's all about you.
75,000 Hawthorn members and...
No, I saw your face on Saturday when they won, and for those of you that don't know what colours they are, they're right here, brought in from you.
Well, I brought a special scarf in, not number 33, seeing Cyril Rioli won the...
it was well deserved, but 2016 is already approaching, so I think it's time that we just forget about it already, Tony.
Yeah, whilst we're on the topic of football, what do you think of the new appointment of John Worsfold as coach?
Well, it's forward to have some good news at Essendon Footy Club, so hopefully we can next use it's a positive. It's a start.
Yeah.
You've got to start
what do you think of John Worsfold, pharmacologist? Is he already lost on anyone?
Oh, look, I'm beside myself with excitement, basically. Yeah.
First story, I got this worker that worked in a chocolate factory for 30 years, Viv, that was sacked 2 years short of his 65th birthday and was awarded $20,000 compensation for discrimination. Tell us a bit more about that, Viv.
So essentially this worker was with the Cadbury confectionery company in Victoria for a number of years, and he felt he was unfairly dismissed. He suffered an injury to his elbow, I believe.
Yep.
Was off work, was then put on light duties, and then subsequently had a follow-up illness, and his employers deemed him unsuitable for the particular role that he had previously been doing, and he was very, very, very upset about being sacked because he wanted to see his sort of retirement years reaching 65 and then leaving on good terms. So, I don't know. I mean, it's a lot of money, but for 2 years...
Yeah, but 2 years away.
This doesn't sit well with me.
Yeah.
Why?
He's received $20,000 for, with respect, injury to his feelings. Look, the fact is he couldn't perform his job. It's not fair he's been there for 30 years, but if everyone has to get compensation because you've been there for a long time or you're going to make someone upset, well, where's society heading? I think it's
still getting weekly payments of compensation, or is this in addition or not?
This is in addition. So he's got $20,000 for injury to his feelings.
In that case, I agree with you, Nons.
Look, I said, I'm sure he's a nice chap, but I just can't see what compensation he's deserving.
Geez, I must be entitled to a lot. My feelings have been hurt a bit lately, apart from this winning.
It's a lovely parting gift, really, then, isn't it?
Yeah, well, 30 years is a long time.
Yeah.
I mean, you can't mistreat people like that.
But that's why you get long service leave and entitlement. So, I probably sound a bit
harsh.
Tonight, but I think it's fair.
But I think it just demonstrates, to bring it back to the rights of the employees and employers. Employers, you've just got to be so careful in the way that you frame the dismissals, because ultimately, the legislation often acts in the favour of employees. So,
Look, it's a topic we should look at because it's so broad and widespread.
Yeah.
So we'll probably come back to that. What about this? The AMA has authorised its doctors to inject ice addicts, Nons, if they're carrying on or if they're in fear of their safety.
Yeah,
what do you think about this?
Yeah, look, I think it's a very good initiative by the AMA. So effectively, if these patients or ice addicts won't swallow sedatives, then they have the right to basically give injections to calm them down. And look, when you read about the terrible effects of ice and what it can do, look, I think it's a good power to have, but obviously it needs to be controlled, it needs to be regulated. Willy-nilly you can't just be giving injections, but as long as it's controlled, I think it's a good
Well,
implementation.
how do you know when one of them's out of control? I mean, I guess they're out of control when you first see them,
I would
don't you?
suggest that the emergency services people have seen this time and time again. They see it daily, so I think they're acutely aware of when it's timely to actually perform the injection. And also, it's not just for their safety, but it's for the safety of the patients as well. Because whilst they're in this induced coma, they're often doing some extraordinary things with their own bodies. Tell us what they were doing.
A couple of examples. In one case, a woman chewed off her own toes and another man refused to have his finger reattached after slicing it off.
Yeah.
That's bizarre, isn't
Yeah,
it?
and that's why I think they've got to have these powers, because if situations like this, you need to be able to calm down.
The mum, who, because of a lot of red tape nonce, couldn't get care, and this thing went on for 5 years. This is bizarre, isn't it?
Yeah, so she was, she's been hospitalised for, I think it's almost the last 3 months because some red tape issues at the TAC, and she needed some specialty needs at home. By way of handrails and the like, and because the TAC were delayed in making that decision, because I think the case manager had left or resigned, she had to stay in hospital. Husband had to look after the kids and couldn't go back home, which, look, is really sad because, no one's been in hospital for more than a day, and she's there for 3 months. So, it's pretty disappointing for the TAC, and, I appreciate that there can be delays, but 3 months, I think, is not appropriate.
It's a long time.
Well, the extra cost, associated with it, not only from a monetary point of view, but emotional. The husband had to stay home and look after the kids. It's just a very extraordinary case, isn't it?
It's horrendous. I mean, she's a mother of 7 children too. So at the same time, I think if you've got 7 children at home, you might want to stay in hospital. But no, I agree 100% with you guys, Nuns and Tony. But I just wonder then, how do you then overcome these issues when, you've got changing of staff who are...
Well, what they should have done is approved it, and then if there was any issues, they could have looked at them.
Yeah, or look, that's when you've got to seek legal advice, because you can get your solicitors to, I suppose, push the envelope a little bit harder, and because they're aware of your rights and what you can and can't do. So that's probably a good time to see a solicitor.
Yeah, agree.
What about this extraordinary story of a fly destroying someone's TV? Went inside and the electrical company doesn't want to pay or doesn't want to repair it because it's an act of God.
I find this hilarious. Essentially what's happened is the customer's purchased a TV, there's been a fault with the television, and the electrical store have said, look, we're not going to repair it because it's deemed an act of God because a fly had flown into the socket. So I guess, it is very interesting, and I wonder then, is this foreseeable? Is it a foreseeable...
Look, no, act of God is usually an earthquake.
Yeah, act of God are things, like big natural disasters like earthquakes or cyclones, and that's what insurance companies use. But, for an errant fly to get into a TV and to use that to not pay or repair it that's ridiculous.
What's next? Ants, mosquitoes.
So
Where does it stop?
does this customer then have a right to actually pursue a claim?
Oh, for sure.
I'm sure he can. Sure. I'm sure he can go to the local authorities too and push that.
VCAT if it was in Victoria. Yeah. Viewers, we've got to go to a sponsors break. After a break, we're going to continue with the news stories because there's been so much happening in our community. So stay tuned. Viewers, welcome back to the show. Because we've got so many things happening in our community at the moment that are of significant interest, we've decided to extend what's in the news. Now, Nuns, the big story is Prime Minister Turnbull announcing a $100 million package to combat domestic violence, which for some reason, viewers, I don't know why, but Australia seems to have a high incidence of domestic violence than probably other countries in the world. Yeah,
look, Tony, it's been littered in the news this week because also at the same time the coroner's findings came back for the case of Luke Batty.
Yes.
And there it basically highlighted that there are flaws in the domestic system, the domestic violence system, and it's great there's more funding being attributed to it. It's what they do with it though I think is the more important issue. Because $100 million can be lost very quickly.
Viv, this fellow, the father of Luke Batty, had quite a few outstanding offences they had to go to court for. And there was many occasions when they could have arrested him and taken him into custody, but it didn't happen. So, but the coroner's come back and said that no one's to blame but the father.
Look, it's a horrific case any way that you look at it. But just going back to your point, Nunzio, in terms of the delivery of, of monies from the government, at the end of the day, you can have so much money, but if it's not put to good use, or there are a lot of issues at play with domestic violence. The police department are often, in very, very difficult situations. You've got DHS that are involved as well. That, there's a lot of work that needs to be done in order to make sure that this money is being put to good use.
You need a specialised unit, don't you, Viv?
100%.
Where they have education and they know how to deal with these issues.
100%.
Because more often than not, the police in the past and say, look, it's not a police matter, it's a family matter.
Yeah.
Go to the court.
They sort of pass the buck sometimes.
Well, it's also their powers are limited at the same time too,
Yes.
and some women, have been so battered. It's that battered wife syndrome that, they feel that they're, ongoing victims, and they actually don't often feel like they have a voice to get themselves out of it too. Because they've got so many historical stories at play, and women, feel that they're better to be in an environment that they know, albeit horrific, than go out on their own.
And how good's a restraining order when, by the time you actually get to call police to attend, things happen?
Yeah, that's right. So, look, I think we'll hear more about this, but I think it's a big well done to Rose Batty for the fact that she's turned such a horrific story into something that can help society. I think it warrants why she deserved Australian.
Yes. All right, let's keep moving. Gamblers' legal punt. Nuance, this fellow's gone into cash converters. They've obviously loaned him money, and now he wants to sell them.
Yeah, so a pensioner, 63 years of age, has borrowed around just under 16 grand from cash converters, and all up the repayments got to about $23,000 with interest and all the other associated charges. But effectively, this pensioner didn't have the funds to make any repayments, Tony, and so now they're suing cash converters, saying, well, I should have never received the loan.
You should have never given us the money in the first place.
But thank you for your help, but now I want to sue you. So I just find this interesting, but isn't cash converters about you giving over something of value and receiving funds in return, and then once you pay it back, then you can actually get your funds back? Is that how cash converters
used to, but now they give small short-term loans, but in response to that, or in return, they need to see some financial. So what this particular pensioner is saying is that they saw her financial statements and could see that she was a gambler, couldn't pay for rent, and basically struggled to live day to day. And why would you give her money?
It's part of the growing micro lending industry, Viv.
Yeah, right.
So they're saying that the Consumer Action Law Centre or consumer law groups are going to take more interest in this because people don't know what they're doing.
Yeah, and I think it's a growing problem. I mean, the poker machine industry is, something that's very concerning, particularly for people who are over a certain age. I mean, this addiction is rife in our community, and nobody actually even talks about it.
I just think it's an easy solution. Well, it's really cash converters. They should have a bit more strict guidelines as to who they give money to.
But it's not only cash converters; it's other people.
But they're, I hate to say, but they're the idiots for giving you money if they don't think they can repay the loan. So the banks are good enough to take all your properties and all that kind of security. Well, they can do the same.
That's true too, isn't it?
100%.
Anyway, we'll deal with this another time. The VW is scandal nuts. Class action, 50,000 cars. Something to do with software designed to cheat fuel economy and emissions.
Yeah, so with the VW scandal that's engulfed Germany, and effectively, it's a massive story overseas, but it's come home, and there is murmurs that there could be a class action, or up to 50,000 vehicles have been affected by this emission scandal, and if it is, then it could be quite a big one, Viv.
Yeah, so are they thinking? I saw somewhere that the directors may also be held accountable. Is that correct?
Well, they've been stood down in Germany. The whole board effectively has been stood down, and I think the head of Porsche now has come in to head VW because they own so many different labels. They were saying it's as big as like the economy going down because they employ over over 200,000 people. So it's almost the biggest company in Germany.
Well, the sad thing about it is that even if they do fix the problem, they say it could affect the performance of the car.
Yeah, it's going to have less power. It could actually force a whole recall of the cars and replacements, and that's going to just go into the millions.
So if I've purchased a VW vehicle during this time period, what am I likely to receive in terms of compensation, if anything at all?
I think, Viv, it all depends if they can rectify. If they can't rectify it, then Tony, I can't see why they shouldn't either get a vehicle of the same value, because you haven't got what you should be getting.
What you'll probably get is the technology being upgraded, which could be a matter of a few $1,000s.
Yeah.
And they'll have to install it for you. That's what they'll do. It's a software.
So what should consumers actually do at this point, do you think?
Probably sit tight and see what happens.
Sit tight and see what happens?
Yeah, at this stage. What do you
Yeah,
think?
I think because Germany's going to release details as to which cars in Australia are affected, because there could be other brands that are affected, like I think it was Skoda, Passat and so forth. So
the cars are actually functioning properly. It's
they're
just
they're cheating the emission test.
Yes,
So
yes.
it's releasing toxins, and which is not good for the good for anyone.
economy.
So that's the real reason why this is such a big scandal.
Yes. Nuns, up your alley, this one. A mother is suing the city of Greater Bendigo for negligence over a freak accident to kill her 4-year-old daughter, and she was seriously injured. Now, you're at the Wiki Carbone, you run an insurance group. What would you say about this case to the viewers?
Well, Tony, we'll have to get more details around exactly, the location of where the branch fell, and whether it was stable, it's been inspected and so forth. But arguably, if it's something that was a risk to start with, and the councils contribute to that, then this is a big case. When you're talking, death of a child, it's
4-year-old. But I just wonder though, it took her 2 years to make a claim. So why do you think there would have been a delay?
Are they waiting for coroner's findings as well, Viv?
And also,
an inquest?
I'm sure that the mother's probably suing for what's called PTSD, and that you need time for that to develop and to see what's the permanent nature of the injuries. And 2 years in litigation is not long, Tony.
No, it's not. It's not.
So.
Anyway, we've got to go to a sponsors break. After the break, viewers, we'll be talking about men's health and in particular Blue September. Viewers, welcome back to the show. As we promised today, we're talking about men's health and the issue of Blue September. We're basically talking about raising awareness because a lot of men, sadly, nonce, don't have GPs, they don't go for regular checkups. Yep. More often than not, Viv, they go to doctors when they're actually sick.
Yeah, and they tend to put it off. I think men are more inclined to wait.
Yes.
Rather than be in an uncomfortable circumstance. And so Blue September, is a great platform for people to raise, for them to be raising awareness with men to say, hey, listen, if you have a concern or just have regular checkups, it's better to be uncomfortable early than to suffer a cancer.
And this is mainly directed to prostate cancer, is that correct?
Yeah, prostate cancer is the big campaign because it is the most commonly caused cancer and causes the most deaths in Australia. And some of the stats are alarming, Tony, when you look at it.
They are alarming because 1 in 5 men, or 30% of the male population, will get prostate cancer at some time in their life. And sadly, if it's been in the family, the chances of getting it so much higher. Now, Viv, the stats for females are 1 in 8 females will get breast cancer. But fortunately, there's been a lot of money devoted to that, hasn't it?
Breast cancer has a huge amount of awareness. They've had so many successful campaigns, and I'm so surprised that prostate cancer is the #1 cause in Australia. I mean, Nuns, you sort of just fleeted over that.
Yeah, so the fact is that the hard part about it is that there's not as much sort of investment in terms of diagnosing and helping and reducing the rate of cancer rates, and that's why Blue September is such a key mission. And the key, I suppose, cause in 2015 is to try and get specialised equipment that reduces the time in diagnosing these conditions, particularly prostate cancer, which is a great cause, Tony.
Well, up until now, the PSA is the only test they've really got, Viv, which is not accurate. It gives you readings, but they're not entirely accurate. And the other test is very invasive. Or you've got to get a scan done, which is very expensive and also, once again, invasive.
Yeah, so are there any warning signs for men to be aware of?
Well, if you're elderly, they say that if you get up to go to the toilet 3, 4 or 5 times a night, that's generally a sign.
But I think the key message for those saying get onto those things early. So like Tony was saying, if you've got a regular GP, well, how are you feeling? You know, generally what's your day-to-day sort of, symptoms like? And I think if you get onto it early, a lot of the time if you're diagnosed, but you can actually be treated.
Yes.
The problem is that people are getting on till too late, or men are getting on till too late, and it's been too developed and too far down the track. So that's the big concern.
One of the things I'd like to raise is pancreatic cancer and mesothelioma has only got a very small success rate in terms of treatment. There's only 6% for males and females pancreatic cancer living beyond 5 years, and mesothelioma is only 5% for males and 8% for females. But fortunately, Nuns, pancreatic cancer, we've got a foundation set up for it called PanCare.
You're on the board of that,
I'm
ambassador?
Advisor committee, yeah.
And what's their sort of, what are they doing at the moment to help with the PanCare side of things?
Pancreatic Cancer Foundation, PanCare, what they're doing is they're actually raising money so that they can do scientific research. They want to employ someone to actually do that on a regular basis. They've set up the Austin Health Centre where people get checked. They've got support services. They want to get a PhD student every year, a scholarship there. So it's a great initiative, and also it helps the sick people and their families, but also society in terms of cost.
And you went through that personally, didn't you, Tony?
Oh, look, Dad had 2 cancers. He had the prostate and he had the lung cancer. Sorry, not lung, liver. And very, very traumatic and tragic. And in the end, it was amazing the emotional and cost financially to deal with the...
Look, when we talk about cost, so reading the amount of money that is spent on cancer research, I think it just as of 2011, there was 5.5 billion spent in that year.
Yes.
And we've developed in terms of diagnosing, but we're nowhere close to where we could get, and that kind of money still doesn't get you the results. It's crazy. So, it's great that charities like Blue September, Cancer Research are all trying to chip in, because I think every dollar helps.
Oh, of course.
And then there's a huge awareness around skin cancer, obviously, but I think it comes in 4 or 5 down the line in terms of what are the most predominant cancers in Australia. So, that's fantastic that there's so much awareness around it, but I'm still astounded that this prostate cancer is our number 1.
It is, and it's been number 1 for a long time, Viv, because sadly what happens is more often than not, the cancer starts in the prostate and it spreads somewhere else, and then they don't realise it's from the prostate. They think it's from the bowels or some other body part.
Well, they're saying it's almost 55 new cases a day, and that will increase, up to 2020. So the numbers are actually horrifying, and I think it's all about probably education, Viv. There's not enough out there. And
at what age should people start getting checks?
Oh, for prostate, once upon a time they used to say at the age of 50. Now they're saying 40, and if it's been in a family like your father or grandfather, they say you should even start earlier. So. It's amazing, really. Yeah. But Viv,
yes,
you're with the Breast Cancer Foundation. You get involved a bit with the walks and
we do a lot of fundraising for breast cancer, and I love the biggest afternoon tea, and they do a lot of fun runs. So I think it's great to just get behind all of these particular foundations. So Nunzio, who are some of the ambassadors of Blue September?
Yeah, look, the Blue ambassadors have actually said it's good to reach out to all the community. So there's some high profile people, Alan Fletcher from Neighbours, Darren Hinch, Mark Holden, Brett McLeod, Cameron Daddo, Sarah Marie, Steve O'Donnell. There's lots of them. So look, it's a cause that I think everybody should support, and I think I urge all viewers to look at the website, research it, and contribute, because it affects everybody.
Viewers, what we'll do in future is we'll get Mike Chapman on the show. He's the founder of Blue September. He can tell us a bit more about the foundation, what you can do to donate and assist in trying to find a cure, or to purchase equipment to assist in diagnosing people. I want to thank Viv, the effervescent Viv Ryan, for coming on the show. Thank you, Viv.
Thank you, Tony.
Nunzio Tartaya, thank you for coming on board. Viewers, thanks for watching. Stay tuned for future episodes. Go to our past episodes on YouTube, and always remember to stay safe.